Good day, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to be reviewing Black Clover, of course, spoiler warning, and we'll be doing not just one but two chapters because last week's chapter felt like they had a bit more to be added to it before I could review it. So that's why I waited for this chapter so we could get context and close off everything. So let's start with chapter 303, which is titled Glad Tidings. And this chapter starts off basically with Nozelle's flashback, or the flashback from his point of view. So we see basically him as a kid holding Noelle after their mother was attacked by Mechucula and what went on. And the gist of this flashback was him realizing how weak he was and how he felt, and he felt like he couldn't do anything and he never wanted to have that feeling again. So this flashback took up a few pages, but essentially that's the gist of it. He felt weak. He felt like he couldn't do anything and he didn't want to feel like that anymore. Of course, there's the scene with his mother speaking to him and telling him to live, and one day you'd be even stronger than me. And then we get the mother's funeral, and then Noelle, and we get the flashback as to why he treated Noelle the way he did. And it was because he didn't want her to feel inadequate like he did, and he wanted to get himself stronger to win this fight. And he thought that maybe if Noelle wasn't going to be strong, because she was weak early on, that he didn't want her around to feel like how he was feeling, which doesn't really make sense, but in his head it did. So we get his motivation and his drive. So this is why he trained so hard and tried to get so much stronger to protect not just the kingdom but his friends, his family, to ensure no one was hurt like his mom. So we then cut back to present day now out of the flashback, and we see him standing on his silver eagle made out of mercury, and he's like, at last. And he says, everything I have is going into this attack. And he tells Majukila, we meet at last, finally. And Majukila is like, well, this is a touching reunion, but we devils don't possess this type of emotion that you have. So we get that, and he's attacking Majukila with his Mercury, and it seems to be like I don't know what is the name of the spell because we don't get the name, but it seems to be like some kind of spears made out of Mercury barraging Majukila. And we also get one flashback of his mother saying that, your magic is strong because it has the strength of steel but the flexibility of water. Then we get Majukila realizing that, she can't block this attack from Nozelle because she's like, my blood is fizzing, the steel has gotten into my blood. So more of, I guess, mercury into her system. She can't heal. And Nozelle manages to destroy Majukula's entire body, exposing the heart. But before he can deliver the final blow, it seems he begins to collapse. But before he can collapse, Noelle comes in and says, we need to grow strong together. And she goes in for the finishing blow and strikes Majukula's heart in 4, it seems. And we get final words from Majukula saying that, the humans that refuse to give up, it appears I misjudged the strength of yours. This power, this emotion basically was a good thing. And they managed to defeat Majukula, and the heart is destroyed. And out of the heart comes like a little ember, a flame, and it comes towards Noelle and Nozelle in the form of their mother, and it tells them that they have really grown, they've gotten strong, and it hugs them. And that chapter ends with both of them crying. So that's chapter 303. So now we jump into chapter 304, which is titled Reality and Magic. And the reason I waited to review both is because this finishes up everything. So we see Majukila has died, her spell begins to fade. The spell that was on Laura Pachika to like a half devil begins to fail or fade. And she wakes up and Asta is looking at her and Asta is like, well, I didn't see anything because she's like, I'm sorry, I'm naked, I'm sorry. And of course, Noelle is like, what are you doing? And she goes Sundari on Asta again. And then she hugs Laura Pachica. And Asta is like, what was that for? And Noelle is blushing as usual. And then she punches Asta again. And Nocelle says the curse has been broken. But he doesn't know how to really talk to his sister. And we see like a confused, worry, blushy kind of look on his face because he's been accustomed to being so mean to Noelle that now that the curse is lifted and he could be himself, he doesn't know how to react with his sister or speak to her. We then cut to Rill now and we see Rill's magic seems to be fading away, and this leads to the ability to keep everyone alive. Then during this spell fades, so we see Rill falls, Charlotte falls, Gaja's burns start to reappear on him and he falls. And Laura Pachica tries to use her water recovery magic and says that her magic can't heal this type of wounds. They're too grievous. So that's interesting. And then Asta is worried, Noelle is worried, and they're looking to Knock now because he's the vice captain. Maybe he has some way to heal them. So they ask him, Knock, is there a way we could do this? Can we save them somehow? But here's where he comes in and he says, well, sad to say, but not everyone who does good necessarily survives or is rewarded for it. That's the reality of life. But then we see something interesting, which is not real, but Locke. Locke speaking to Knock and he is like, hey. And Knock was like, oh yeah, I brought the one you said to bring, but that's but it's too, because it cuts off just like that. We don't get like what he was going to finish. And well, it's like no. And then we see Mimosa come out and she says Mimosa can do it and she's not letting anyone die. And Mimosa uses a new spell called Ultimate Plant Magic Flower Princess Utopia. Knock is surprised at how strong this spell is, and basically the spell revives everyone, heals them almost 100%. And Mimosa says, we'll just overrule reality after all. That's what magic does, right? Kind of tying into the title, reality and magic. But yeah, we then cut to Laura Pachica being happy, and we get the moment between her and Gaja, her thanking him for, saving her. And he says, I love you, not as my queen, but as a woman. What I feel for you is. And Laura Pachica starts to blush, Undine starts to blush, Noelle starts to blush, and Gaja is like, did I say something wrong? And Undine is like, but she's mine. So that is cool. And then we get Nocelle again, and he's like, it's irritating, but I suppose it's thanks to him that Noelle grew so strong. So he's thanking them, I guess. And by thanking them, I mean he's thanking Yami for Noelle becoming so strong. And he says we have to save Yami no matter what. So yeah, we just get Knock saying, it appears that they were stronger than he thought. And now that 2 of the Dark Triads are done, we have 1 more. And we cut back now to Zenon and Yuno and Langris. And Zenon looks pretty dope in his devil form. And he's like, we're only wasting time. I'll end this. But Yuno has a plan, it seems, because he tells Langris, he says, Langris, buy me 3 minutes and I'll finish him with my next attack. And the chapter ends there. So that is it for chapter 304. So again, both chapters fit in perfectly together to end off this fight. And it was a really good chapter, or a good 2 chapters. So we get revelations, we get more of the heartwarming stuff. The only thing I don't like is that Mimosa was able to heal everyone completely. Because even though it kind of makes sense that we don't want much casualties. It would be better if some people are injured, so it will show the severity of this war and just how bad it is. But I digress. Hopefully, we get more later on. Maybe some casualties actually. But I'm going to assume the next few chapters now will focus on Yuno and Zenon fighting. And then after that, we'll see what comes next. So yeah, really good chapter. And I'll see you all for the next one.